You ever look up at the moon and just think, what the hell is that thing doing up there? I mean, it's always there, this big glowing rock in the sky. We take it for granted, but when you really think about it, the moon is pretty damn weird. For centuries, people have been trying to figure out where it came from. Did it form naturally, alongside Earth? Or is there something more to it? In this episode, we're diving deep into the mystery of the moon's origins. We're talking about the theories that'll make you question everything you thought you knew. Buckle up, because this is where things get really interesting. Alright, so let's start with this whole perfect thing. The moon, our closest celestial neighbor, has always fascinated humanity. From ancient myths to modern science, it's been a source of wonder and mystery. I'm talking about how the moon's size and distance from Earth are just right for those crazy solar eclipses we get. It's like the universe set up a perfect show for us. Think about it. The moon is 400 times smaller than the sun, right? Yet it can perfectly cover the sun during an eclipse. That's some mind-blowing stuff, but it's also 400 times closer to Earth. This precise ratio allows us to witness one of the most spectacular events in the sky. That's not a coincidence, man. The odds of such a perfect alignment happening by chance are astronomical. That kind of precision, that's some next-level engineering. It's almost as if someone or something designed it with a purpose in mind. Some folks, and I'm not saying I agree with them, but some folks say this points to intelligent design. They argue that the moon's perfect positioning is too precise to be a mere accident. Like, maybe the moon was put there, perfectly positioned, like a giant clock in the sky. A cosmic timepiece that governs the tides and influences life on Earth. It's a wild theory, but when you look at the numbers, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? The mathematical precision is hard to ignore. I mean, what are the odds? The more you think about it, the more it boggles the mind. It's like finding a perfectly spherical rock on the beach. You can't help but question its origin. You gotta ask yourself, did nature do that, or did someone make that happen? The moon's perfection continues to be one of the greatest mysteries of our universe. Now this next one is where things get really wild. So, back in the Apollo missions, NASA intentionally crashed the lunar module into the moon's surface. They wanted to study the seismic waves, right? Totally normal science stuff. But here's the thing. The moon rang like a bell. I'm serious. It vibrated for hours. Some scientists, and these are legitimate scientists, mind you, started theorizing that the moon might actually be hollow. Now if it's hollow, what's inside? Is it a giant spaceship? A secret alien base? I don't know, man, but it's a hell of a thought, isn't it? A giant hollow moon just hanging out up there. Makes you wonder what they're hiding. So, we've got these ancient cultures, right? The Zulus, the Greeks, even some South American civilizations. They all have rich histories and fascinating mythologies that have been passed down through generations. And they all have these stories, these myths about a time before the moon. It's intriguing to think about how different cultures, separated by vast distances, share similar tales. Now I know what you're thinking. Myths, Joe, come on. These are just stories, right? But what if there's more to them than just fiction? But what if there's something to them? What if these myths are based on real events, real experiences that our ancestors tried to make sense of? What if these ancient cultures weren't just making stuff up? What if they were recording actual events, real memories passed down through generations? These stories could be echoes of a distant past. What if they were recording actual events, real memories passed down through generations? Imagine the wealth of knowledge and history that could be hidden within these myths.
The Zulus, for example, they talk about a time when the earth was shrouded in darkness before the great serpent brought the moon here. This isn't just a random story, it's a significant part of their cultural heritage. And the Greeks, they have this whole myth about the Titans and how the moon was a punishment from the gods. These myths are deeply embedded in their history and beliefs.
It's easy to dismiss these stories as mythology, but what if they're trying to tell us something real? What if these ancient records are clues to understanding our past in ways we never imagined? Chapter 4, The Moon's Orbit is Impossible.
Alright, let's talk about the moon's orbit for a second. It's weird, man, like really weird. You see, the moon doesn't follow the same rules as other moons in our solar system. Most moons in our solar system, they orbit their planets around the equator, right? But not our moon. Our moon has a mind of its own.
It's tilted, off-kilter. This tilt is not just a minor deviation, it's significant. And it's not just a little bit off, it's way off. This unusual tilt makes the moon's orbit unique and fascinating.
And here's the kicker. This weird orbit, it's what keeps Earth stable. Without it, our planet would wobble more, causing drastic changes. It's what regulates our seasons, our tides, our whole damn climate. The moon's gravitational pull is essential for maintaining the balance of our environment. If the moon wasn't there, or if it was in a different orbit, life on Earth as we know it wouldn't exist. Our ecosystems and weather patterns would be completely different.
So how did it get there? How did this celestial body end up in such a precise and crucial position? How did this giant rock end up in this perfect, impossible orbit? It's a question that has puzzled scientists for generations. It's enough to make you think that maybe, just maybe, someone put it there on purpose. The mystery of the moon's orbit continues to intrigue and inspire us. Chapter 5: The Moon is an Alien Outpost. Now we're getting into some real X-Files territory here. There have been reports, and I'm talking about credible sources, of strange signals coming from the far side of the moon. And not just signals, but weird structures too. Things that don't look natural. Astronauts on the Apollo missions, they reported seeing lights, objects moving across the lunar surface. Now, NASA denies all of this, of course. They say it's just space junk, optical illusions, that kind of thing. But some people, and I'm one of them, believe there's more to it than that. What if the moon is an alien base? A giant listening post, or maybe even a launch pad for something bigger? It's not as crazy as it sounds. Chapter 6: Mind Control and Lunar Cycles. Okay, this one might sound a little out there, but hear me out. We all know the moon affects the tides, right? Its basic gravity. But what if the moon's gravitational pull also affects us humans? I mean, our bodies are mostly water, right? Think about it. Full moons are associated with weird behavior, increased crime rates, sleep disturbances. Could it be that the moon's gravity is messing with our brains, influencing our emotions, making us act in ways we normally wouldn't? It's a wild theory, but there's some compelling evidence out there. And let's be honest, we've all felt a little crazy under a full moon, haven't we? Chapter 7.
So what if the moon wasn't always where it is now? What if it was brought here, dragged into place by some advanced civilization?
I know, it sounds insane, but think about it. If you had the technology to move a celestial object, wouldn't you?
Or maybe they had another reason altogether. Maybe they needed to stabilize Earth's orbit, create a more habitable environment.
Maybe the moon was a giant spaceship, a cosmic ark carrying refugees from a dying planet.
It's a mind-blowing concept, but it would explain a lot, wouldn't it?
Chapter 8. The moon is a time regulator. Alright, let's talk about time for a second, specifically how the moon affects time here on Earth. See, the moon's gravitational pull is actually slowing down Earth's rotation. It's a tiny effect, but over millions of years it adds up. Back in the dinosaur days, a day was only about 22 hours long. Thanks to the moon, our days are getting longer.
Now, some scientists believe this slowing effect was crucial for life to evolve. The longer days, the more stable climate, it all created the perfect conditions for life as we know it to flourish.
So, was the moon put there to regulate time, to kickstart evolution? It's a possibility, man, and it makes you wonder what else is the moon capable of. Chapter 9. The Moon as an Ancient War Weapon. Okay, buckle up for this one because it's a doozy. What if the moon wasn't always a peaceful celestial body? What if it was once a weapon, a giant planet-killing weapon? Think about it. The moon is covered in craters, right? But some of those craters, they're way too big to be caused by natural impacts. Some scientists believe they're evidence of ancient battles, cosmic wars fought with weapons of unimaginable power. Maybe the moon was a Death Star, capable of unleashing destruction on a planetary scale. And now it's just sitting there, deactivated, a silent reminder of a war that almost destroyed our solar system. It's a terrifying thought, but it would explain a lot about the moon's strange features. Chapter 10. The moon is an experiment. Alright, last but not least, we have the theory that really gets my brain going. What if the moon is an experiment? And I'm not talking about some high school science project, I'm talking about a cosmic experiment, conducted by beings so advanced, we can't even comprehend their technology. Think about it. Earth is unique. It's the only planet we know of that harbors life. What if those beings, those cosmic gardeners, put the moon there to study us, to observe our evolution, to see how we react to different stimuli, to see what we're capable of? It's a chilling thought to be nothing more than lab rats in a giant cosmic experiment, but it would explain a lot about the moon's mysterious nature. Outro: the moon's enduring mystery. So there you have it. 10 mind-blowing theories about the moon's origins. Was it placed here for a specific reason? Was it brought to Earth by an alien civilization? Or is it part of a cosmic grand experiment? We may never know for sure, but as long as we look up at that glowing orb in the sky, we can be certain of one thing: there's something deeply strange about the moon.
Or maybe it's just a giant rock.
Right, just a rock.